Hi there, Cancer. I'm EllaAradia, and welcome to your May 2026 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Cancer water signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. But what I do find is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Cancer signs. So it may show up in different areas of your life in slightly different ways, but the theme is always the same. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Cancer, let's jump in. So I always like to tune in to the energies first, Cancer, before I start pulling any cards. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe shows me. I'm seeing some karmic lessons here for many of you around boundaries. And I feel like you're learning to say no. There's a lot of outgoing energy that I'm seeing. I'm feeling like you're a huge support for people around you, great support. And there's a lot of, your time, your energy that you do invest in the connections that you do have. But I feel like there's also within that a little bit of an avoidance on working on your own growth in terms of, the growth of your life and what direction that is going on. And it feels like there might be a little something there that you might be avoiding looking at. Something you might be avoiding facing about your present circumstances, where your life is currently at, what's next, and, all of those kind of questions. With your overall energies, we have the Devil. Very much a card of breaking free. And the energies of the Devil represent unhealthy patterns, toxic behaviors. That could be in a connection that you have at the moment. It could represent, your patterns. But it's definitely an invitation, I feel, to really, work on, let's say, your shadow. These old unhealthy patterns, because this is a card of, breaking free from the past. And it's really interesting. Like when you look at the card, the figures on the card have these chains around their necks. But they're loose, they can take them off at any moment. And the other thing that I was kind of feeling here was I think that there is, for some of you, some ancestral healing to do. It feels to me like a grandmother figure. It feels like it's on the feminine side of somebody who feels like they didn't choose themselves in some way. They were either not chosen in some way, they didn't choose themselves in some way. So they may have put aside certain dreams, goals, other things that they wanted to do in life. They may have put aside, let's say, their own needs in order to have love, in order to have family. And I feel like there are some, let's say, karmic energy cords or chains, to your past, to your ancestors, around the ability to, first of all, choose yourself, the ability to say no, to be able to choose yourself and have love and have, healthy, positive connections in your life. And I feel like you're the pattern breaker. particularly in regards, to this ancestral kind of link or chain that I'm seeing here. There is an invitation for you to break this cycle. So I definitely feel this month is, definitely a time of closing up of any, old negative patterns that are, this is a card of, things that hold you back, limitations, things that hold you back from, being more of who you can be. What lies in your recent past, the Knight of Cups. Some kind of new offer or opportunity that may have come in for some of you. That could be a love offer. Cups are related to love, to water, to emotions. And being the Knight of Cups, that's usually someone who is pursuing something. So, it can be a new creative opportunity. It's not necessarily just related to love. Your current energies, the Queen of Wands. So there's a big invitation here to step into your power, I feel. Let's just look at your feelings towards your situation. The Five of Cups. So you're focused on the past. You're looking back on the past. This is a card of disappointment, loss, sadness. Sometimes it can be about regret. And, while sometimes it is important to look back on the past as a way of perhaps understanding, processing something that may have happened. Sometimes we can get stuck there and we don't see the two cups, which are still standing there, which are always the hidden blessings. There's always something to be taken, from a situation, from whatever it was that you feel you have lost. So something has come to a close in your past here. I'm getting the feeling of, in regards to, this pattern that I'm seeing here around kind of showing up for everybody else except for yourself, you may have started to say no, and you may have started to put those boundaries there, and it may have caused a little bit of conflict here and there. It may be that a connection came to a close because of this. And that is somebody that you do love and care about, even if, things, were a little bit unhealthy. And so there is this sense of loss here, of sadness. This is often a card of regret where we kind of go back over, things that have happened in the past. There's regret, questioning, but almost kind of getting stuck looking back on the past because there's some kind of new offer or opportunity that's coming in for you with the Knight of Cups, the two cups which are still standing there. And sometimes it is to perhaps trust that, whatever has come to a close came to a close because it was meant to. There was something about it that was, really feeling unhealthy for you. And it's so important to, this isn't just a card of, standing in your power. This is also a card, in order to do that, we have to really take responsibility for our part to play in the experiences that we're having. We need to take a good hard look at our part to play in terms of, our healing and healing those old unhealthy patterns showing up differently. And I feel like it's something, like I said before, that you're carrying, in your ancestral lineage. And sometimes we do that as a way of subconsciously keeping the family together. We take these things on, we take on these patterns, these themes as a way of, keeping perhaps I see this particularly on the feminine side, keeping the feminine connected. And sometimes there can be a kind of a subconscious fear around letting go of that, a fear of becoming disconnected, or a fear of dishonoring, let's say, our ancestors. And it's important to, just remind yourself that you can let go of this without becoming disconnected, without dishonoring, your ancestors, because there's something here, I feel, where you are the pattern breaker in this situation, in this lifelong pattern of yours, is what I'm feeling. You know how they talk about the black sheep? The black sheep are actually the pattern breakers. And I always find that really, really interesting. And so there's a big invitation here to break those chains which are holding you back, to, really step into a new version of yourself, a new experience. For some of you, this might be manifesting in your relationship. You might be dealing with someone who it's kind of got into a pattern of it being all about them, you supporting them all the time with whatever they're doing, but really kind of losing yourself in the process here, like really losing yourself, I feel. And there's a big invitation to, maintain that strong sense of yourself, and that you can be in your power, like this Queen of Wands here, and have love and have positive, healthy connections. It doesn't have to be a choice between, one or the other. You don't have to give up your power. You don't have to give your power away. You don't have to give up on your hopes and dreams and the other things that you want to do in life, your life goals, in order to have love and feel accepted and positive, healthy connections in your life. You can have all of that. Let's just look at your challenge. So your challenge is the Ace of Wands, following your heart, some kind of new beginning. This is the spark of something new. I'm really curious. I want to know what this offer is. Some kind of new offer of love, a new opportunity. That could be in career, it could be a move for some of you, but some kind of new opportunity. The hidden influence is the Four of Swords. Taking a pause, taking a step back, taking some time for yourself. That's what you need to do, because there's so much of your energy that's going outwards, focused on others, and very little that's left for you. And it really is a moment to look after yourself. It might be that whatever this new opportunity is, there might be something that you feel you have to let go of, or something that will perhaps come to a close as a result of, taking whatever that new opportunity is here. Whether that's, career, location, or love, that can be showing up in, many different areas of your life. And it might be a moment to just take a pause, take a step back to, first of all, I feel, regain your energy. This is a card of healing and restoring and being in a place of stillness where we can actually hear the truth. Because when there's chaos all around us, when there's these challenging situations, there's a lot of noise around you, it can be quite difficult to really listen to what your heart's saying moving forwards. So the invitation here, whatever this new possibility is for you, it's something that's going to involve you, standing in your power, choosing yourself, doing what's best for you, but also something that needs to be let go of in the process. And for some of you, that could simply be, something that's fear-based. It might, be about letting go of an old version of yourself, letting go of the version that, everybody knows you as, but it's a version where, you're showing up for everybody else and not yourself. And it might involve, letting go of that pattern in order to receive, to accept whatever this new opportunity is, because whatever it is, that's what the 2 cups are, which are still standing in the card there. So your advice from the universe, that was a card that fell on the floor, the Hierophant. And this is a card of keeping the faith, trusting that everything is unfolding as it's meant to. Sometimes I call this the counseling card. So in a difficult situation, the Hierophant really represents, leaning on, let's say, a trusted friend or a mentor for advice. In a love reading, this represents commitment, and that might be what that offer is, that cup with the Knight of Cups there. Commitment and a kind of connection which is built on shared values, shared beliefs. This is what you want in a love reading, somebody that you can really relate to, and you can build, that strong foundation with each other moving forwards. This is commitment. This is something for the long term, and for those of you, it might be a career opportunity, which perhaps, does have the ability to bring you that long-term happiness that you're wanting and fulfillment. But it may involve, some kind of change of somebody you might need to let go of. It might be something that's already happened to put you on a different path, perhaps. And so it's so important to really trust what's unfolding here. But there's a big invitation to really break free of, any of these old patterns, chains, which are keeping you kind of bound to the past, but in quite a negative way, in a way that's actually holding you back. In the outcome, we have the 6 of Wands. This is a card of recognition, acknowledgement, really being acknowledged for, particularly in career, everything that you've put into something. That's you being seen, appreciated, acknowledged, for all your hard work. And that could represent, in a love reading, also being chosen. But first you have to do that for yourself. And if this is a new offer of love coming in, this could very well be somebody coming in and absolutely choosing you. And there might be a bit of fear. It might, bring up a lot of vulnerability around opening up to that. And so with the energies of the devil there as your overall energies, it's, really about looking at, any fears or insecurities, negative limiting beliefs around perhaps not being worthy or deserving, all of that in order to really embrace this new offer. And for some of you, simply, this is a moment to acknowledge how far you've come, how much you've learnt, how much you've accomplished, especially in terms of inner work and growth. Because whatever is going on for you, that is always the most important thing here. And, I feel like you really are in the midst of breaking that pattern that I talked about earlier and really moving into these energies of choosing yourself, but also still having love and healthy connections in your life, or whatever, life goals or dreams that you want to, still work towards. It is possible to have it all. And so it's definitely a moment to, really look at how far you've come, how much you've learned, how much you've grown, because I really do feel that there is a brighter horizon there waiting for you. So Cancer, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.